Hello and welcome back to Today in the NBA, where today I'm going to be going over the Boston Celtics season preview and recapping their last season. So last season they finished as the 2 seed but lost to the 8-seeded Miami Heat in the conference finals. Great Game 7 as we all know. The off-season, it was alright. I'm not a huge fan of the Kristaps Porzingis trade just because you only get him for 1 year and you also have to give up Marcus Smart, but still, it's not too bad. I'll probably give it a B- to a B. Their rotation next year is looking like Derek White starting at point guard, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on the wings, Kristaps Porzingis at the 4 and Al Horford at the 5. They have a very solid bench, but it's a very top-heavy bench, if that makes sense. They have Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams III coming off the bench. Both are great players, but that's sort of it. They've got Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, and O'Shea Brissett, all players that do definitely deserve rotation minutes, but not as the 8th man on a rotation, probably more like a 9th or a 10th man. In the off-season, I would still like to see them sign another big, like maybe, I know I'm going to say this for a lot of teams, but Christian Wood would look really nice on the Celtics, as he is sort of like a Kristaps Porzingis without the defense. He's a great offensive player, a great floor spacer. When he comes off the bench, he could run the 4, or he could run the 5 in a small ball lineup, or he could play with Kristaps Porzingis, and that lineup would be terrifying. Imagine Malcolm Brogdon, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, and Christian Wood. The amount of shooting on that roster is terrifying. Or, even if they wanted to sign and trade for Christian Wood, they could definitely get it done, and that way they'd be able to give him a little bit more money. Maybe sending out Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, or Peyton Pritchard, Jordan Walsh, and Sam Hauser. Whatever it takes to get Christian Wood, I do definitely think will be worth it. Last year, the Boston Celtics had the 4th best offensive rating with 116.1, and they had the 10th best defensive rating with 112.9. One of, I think, only 4 teams to be top 10 in both categories. Last year, the Celtics were really good. Definitely with the new coach of Joe Mazzulla, the defense did fall off, but the offense did get worse. I do want to see how it's going to be next year without Marcus Smart to run the show, and Derek White, who's probably not as good of a passer. Maybe the ball will end up in Jason Tatum's hands more and Jaylen Brown's. I just hope Jaylen Brown's worked on his handle this offseason. Next year, I don't know whether their defense is going to get better or worse. I got a funny feeling that it is going to get worse though. Kristaps Porzingis and Marcus Smart are both pretty solid defenders, Marcus Smart being a little bit better, but the thing that made Marcus Smart such a great defender was of course his on and off ball defense, his help defense as a guard, all of that, but it was the way he communicated on the defensive end, shouting out rotations, coverages. He was a defensive genius, very smart player on that end of the floor, and I don't think anyone else on this Boston team is going to be that good. Derek White is probably a better on-ball defender, but he doesn't have the same leadership qualities to him as Marcus Smart did. So it'll be interesting to see how their defense goes next year. Every player on that team might have to step up a little bit, but I do think their offense is going to be better. They did lose a little bit of ball handling, but Marcus Smart sometimes was a player that could shoot you out of games. Kristaps Porzingis is like what Al Horford was for them, except better. He's someone that can space the floor, defend the rim, and even switch out on the perimeter a little bit if you need him to. Now, the thing that I can't wait to see next year for the Celtics is Jordan Walsh and Robert Williams' development. Jordan Walsh has looked really good in Summer League, and a lot of people are quite high on him. I'm probably not quite as high as other Celtics fans are, but still, I think he's going to be a great player, and I definitely think he could replace maybe those O'Shea Brissett or Peyton Pritchard or Sam Hauser minutes. Now for Robert Williams, he's shown that he's been developing a jump shot in the offseason, which is great. I don't think he's ever going to be able to space the floor as a three-point shooter, but if he can even space the floor out to the free throw line, it would be amazing for the Celtics, because then, in a lineup with him, Jason Tatum would be so much freer to attack the rim, and you have the great lob threat, as Robert Williams is terrifyingly athletic and is built great. Also, with a whole off-season to be healthy, I do think Robert Williams is going to come into next year a much, much better player much more ready to compete straight away, as last year he was sort of struggling with nagging injuries a bit to start the year, but this year I don't think it'll be like that. I could even see him starting as Al Horford does take another step back due to him getting older. Last year, when Robert Williams was playing, I think the Celtics had one of the best defensive lineups in the league. I think it was fourth off the top of my head, not 100% sure though. If he can manage to get even more minutes, along with the floor spacing that's provided by Kristaps Porzingis, there's not as much spacing on the floor, but the defense will be so much better, similar to what it was probably back when they had Ime Udoka. Anyway, my predictions for the Boston Celtics next year are 63 wins, which I know is a lot, and 19 losses. Jason Tatum, first team All-NBA. Jaylen Brown, third team All-NBA. Both All-Stars. Derek White, an All-Defensive player. And Kristaps Porzingis definitely getting some All-Star votes, along with the Celtics finishing as the 1 seed. I think they'll make it all the way to the finals and lose in 6, sadly, as the competition out west is just so insane. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out some of my other ones, and I'll see you all in the next one.